Welcome back, everybody. In the current climate of the James Gunn DCEU, with one Batman in the form of Robert Pattinson and another Batman yet to be announced, I want to take a look back at a simpler time called the 2010s. We had just gotten word that there's going to be a follow-up to Man of Steel, and it was going to include Batman.
For months, we all speculated on who the new Dark Knight may be. Maybe Christian Bale would return without Christopher Nolan and make his trilogy in the same cinematic universe as the Man of Steel. Perhaps John Hamm, fresh off the heels of the wildly successful Mad Men, would join the cast and create the most accurate Bruce Wayne we had seen on screen. Maybe the grizzled Josh Brolin would do double duty, or triple duty as we later found out, as both Thanos and Batman. But alas, on August 22nd, 2013, coincidentally 10 years ago from the day I'm writing this video, Ben Affleck was cast as the world's greatest detective. The internet of 2013, being a much more gentle space than it is right now, rejoiced at this casting. Yeah, of course, that didn't happen. People kind of lost their ish. But 10 years later, opinion has changed, with some, and I'm including myself into this, considering him to be the best on-screen Batman as of yet. Today, I want to look at why I think Batfleck is better than the rest, and look at the tragedy of knowing that Ben Affleck's Batman is done, without a solo movie, without sequels to the Justice League. The biggest tragedy is that Ben Affleck's last at-bat with this role is at the opening of The Flash. Sad face.
One of the biggest factors that I think makes Ben Affleck the best Batman is his size. He's huge.
In the comics, Batman is around 6'2" and weighs around 210 pounds. Ben Affleck is 6'2" and weighed in around 228 for BVS. To date, with the exception of a few fan-made films on YouTube, Ben Affleck is the most comic-accurate Batman when it comes to his size. He pretty much looks like he stepped off the page. Now, it was a little weird to have Henry Cavill look up to Batman in BVS, but it made it awesome. Affleck's size made him look like a credible threat to the Man of Steel.
The Ben Affleck version of Bruce Wayne was simply spot on. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been others that put their spin on the flip side of The Dark Knight. But there was something so credible about this version of the billionaire playboy and head of Wayne Enterprises.
Let's compare Ben and Christian in the same role. Bale's version of Bruce Wayne basically dies when his parents are killed in Crime Alley. From that point on, a proto-Batman emerges. We understand this because Rachel Dawes flat out spells it out that Bruce Wayne is the mask and Batman is the real person at the end of Batman Begins. Bale's performance echoes this point. His Bruce Wayne is withdrawn and aloof. He does this as a misdirect, since he doesn't want anybody to connect the dots that Bruce Wayne and Batman are one and the same. Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne, on the other hand, is fully in command of his company. He is so in tune with Wayne Enterprises that he will visit the Metropolis office. He even knows former employees and whether or not they're getting paid or not. Affleck's Bruce Wayne attends events and doesn't mind being seen in the public eye. This Bruce Wayne seems to understand that to truly better Gotham City, not only does there need to be a Batman, but a Bruce Wayne as well. Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne shows empathy for others that his predecessors and Pattinson lack. You can see this with his interactions with Clark Kent, Floyd Lawton in the Suicide Squad, and especially Barry Allen in the Justice League and later on in The Flash, where the Dark Knight trilogy treats Bruce Wayne as a character that Batman plays. Ben Affleck's Batman understands that Bruce Wayne is the other side of the coin of the Dark Knight.
A lot has been made about the Matt Reeves directed Batman being the most detective-oriented Batman to date on film. And for good reason. But I think people sleep on Ben Affleck's Batman being a great detective as well. Let's take a look.
Batman deduces that kryptonite can weaken the Man of Steel, and use it to his advantage. Batfleck understands that using a brand on criminals pretty much equals a death sentence to those he marks inside prison. It's pretty messed up, but if he wants somebody out of the way and directly doesn't want to unalive them, he just brands them. He finds out there's more to Diana Prince than she's letting on. He tracks down Aquaman in a remote Icelandic town based on mythical tales and rumor. He tracks down the Flash and recruits him. He forms and leads the Justice League. Now, I understand that Batfleck is more of an action Batman than Pattinson, but he still shows some solid deductive reasoning in his time in the role.
Let's face it, Batfleck has the best toys, the best gadgets. It's kind of grounded in that reality that the Dark Knight trilogy had established, but isn't afraid to go a little bit over the top when needed.
His Batmobile is both armed to the teeth and cool to look at. Batfleck's Batwing is awesome and it can hover when needed, which is pretty useful. He even has a version that is a troop transport and could cart around the Justice League and also acts as his mobile base of operations. Batfleck built and used a mech suit to take on the Kryptonian with a successful result. Of course, that is until he encounters his own form of kryptonite, which apparently is someone who has the same first name as his mom. Martha! He uses a voice modulator to disguise his voice. And as cool as Christian Bale's performance was as Batman, and it was, his bat voice was a little bit weird. He tries using like this heavy baritone voice, and it always sounded like he was out of breath. Comes off as more comical than intimidating. Using a voice modulator just makes a lot of sense.
When it comes down to it, Batfleck will probably be known for one thing, and that's the warehouse scene. And trust me, that's not a bad thing.
Batman has had some impressive fight choreography in the past. Christian Bale used a discipline called KFM, or KC Fighting Method, which is useful in close quarter combat and utilizes elbows and knees similar to Muay Thai. Michael Keaton utilized more of a kickboxing style in the 1989 movie. Ben Affleck seems to utilize a style of martial arts called I'm gonna beat the hell out of you. All kidding aside, Batfleck uses multiple styles of combat in combinations that seem to be appropriate for the situation. A video on the matter done by Godzilla Rex identifies boxing, karate, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, Savate, Krav Maga, Ninjutsu, Kung Fu, Judo, and Aikido. Zack Snyder also made the wise decision to have the warehouse scene incorporate some of the action from the Arkham games to an amazing effect. When it comes to fighting, Batfleck rules all.
When we meet Batfleck, he is pretty much broken and hopeless. He has absolutely no qualms about unaliving people. And if he doesn't want to do it directly, he can always use a brand. Pretty much accomplishes the same thing.
In Batman v Superman, Batfleck sees the worst in people, and that causes him to react in very brutal ways. We can also see a physical representation of Bruce Wayne's lack of hope with the burnt-out husk that was Wayne Manor. Over the course of BVS and the Justice League, we see Batman slowly change into a character that has hope, even going so far to challenge the most powerful being in the universe based on his belief in the team that he's assembled. This hope helps him resurrect Superman and eventually beat Steppenwolf and thus save the planet. If plans had gone forward with the Justice League sequels, Batfleck would have acted truly selflessly.
I mentioned tragedy, and I'm not talking about Bruce Wayne's. We all know his tragic backstory. I'm talking about us as moviegoers, knowing that we're not going to get a solo Batman movie. We're not going to get Justice League 2 and 3. Our final shots of Batfleck is about 10 minutes in the Flash movie.
About a year ago, it was reported that Ben would be in the new Aquaman sequel, and a scene had been shot in The Flash that would indicate that the Ben Affleck Batman was still alive. But alas, with new management, new plans emerge. But let us look at what would have happened in the Batman solo movie had it been allowed to move forward. At the end of both the theatrical and Zack Snyder version of the Justice League, Deathstroke appears, and Lex Luthor gives him the name of Bruce Wayne being Batman. Now, this is not a throwaway line. The Batman movie would have been all about the consequences of Deathstroke having this information. Deathstroke would have systematically chipped away at everything Batman holds dear. And not only would he have attacked the Dark Knight, but also Bruce Wayne as well. Not to mention Deathstroke would have been played by a returning Joe Manganiello, who casts a very imposing figure himself. I think it really would have been awesome to see Batman take on Deathstroke, and it's a shame we'll never get to see it. As I've mentioned before, there was plans for a second and third Justice League movies. The second movie would have seen Superman try and kill Darkseid and leave Lois under Batman's protection. Bruce and Lois would have had, well, a little spicy time, which would have been a little bit weird, but kind of an interesting notion. Anyway, Darkseid already has the anti-life equation thanks to Lex Luthor activating the mother boxes. But it doesn't work on Superman until Darkseid realizes the key to Superman is Lois. The new god kills Lois, and the anti-life equation takes effect on Superman. After that, we get something similar to the nightmare scene in BVS and the Zack Snyder Justice League. Dr. Poison from the first Wonder Woman movie would have taken care of Diana Prince, and Aquaman would have been nerfed by Ocean Master and Black Manta. Superman would square off again with Lex, and let's just say Lex gets invited to his own personal barbecue courtesy of Superman's heat vision. Seriously, he would have gone full injustice on him. Batman, Mara, Cyborg, Deathstroke, well, in this case, hard times makes for strange bedfellows, and the Joker and Flash make it to a broken down Wayne Manor for refuge, all while Superman is hunting them. Justice League 3 would have seen the DCEU introduction of Green Lantern. And yeah, I know he was in the Justice League, but I'm talking about like Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, Jon Stewart. The Flash is still the key to ending the nightmare, though. They make a plan of attack. The Flash has to go back in time and does so with the help creating the cosmic treadmill. The official plan was to stop Lex from activating the mother boxes, but in reality, Batman knew the true plan and shared it only to the Flash just before he left. Superman finds the remnants of the Justice League and an epic battle ensues. Mara dies badly, Green Lantern's ring gets blown apart by Superman, and Cyborg is eaten by parademons. This leaves Batman v Superman round 2, and let's just say it doesn't go well for Batman. Superman impales Batman with the kryptonite spear that Batman had made for BVS. Superman goes for the Flash, who is building up enough speed to travel back in time. The Flash narrowly escapes Superman's attack. The Flash makes it to the past, in the Batcave, while Bruce and Lois are having drama over her pregnancy. Bruce is the father, by the way, but somehow, due to the Flash, he is able to change history. Darkseid and Lex Luthor's Injustice team invade the Batcave, and it looks like things are about to play out the same as before, with Darkseid and Lex winning. But Bruce sacrifices himself to save Lois, taking the full brunt of Darkseid's Omega Beams. Now, with an uncorrupted Superman and a Wonder Woman and an Aquaman, because they're all still alive because it's in the past, the Justice League goes into battle with Darkseid. Oh, also to mention, there is like all of the Green Lantern Corps with them. They win the day, with Cyborg destroying the mother boxes and the Flash being so fast that now he can be at 2 places at once, which would have been better than the Flash movie, because young Barry was kind of annoying. Still, it's Batman who sacrifices himself to ensure the heroes win. Decades later, Batman is memorialized as a hero, kind of like Justice League with Superman, with that big statue. Clark, even knowing that Bruce is the father of the kid, raises him with love. Eventually, this kid takes up the mantle of Batman and protects Gotham, just like his daddy did. I'll be the first one to admit that some of these story elements are pretty out there, but they're also wildly imaginative and kind of fit within the universe that Zack Snyder had built. It's a shame we're not going to see any of it. But we got BVS. We also got the Zack Snyder version of the Justice League. And even that 10 minutes in the Flash.
Maybe one of the reasons why Batfleck's performance is so captivating is because of the what if. But of course, that's just my opinion. And I would love to hear yours. Feel free to comment, and as always, fare thee well, my friends, and take care. Cue the music.